Good afternoon. It is May the 26th, 2020. This is the Service Hero Show, 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. My name is Tamara Hunter. I am your host. And today we have a nominated service hero that I have gotten to know because, quite honestly, I've been a guest on a few of her shows recently, and I've been ever so grateful for it. Her name is Jackie Simmons. She is a best-selling author. She is a TEDx speaker. She is a woman entrepreneur that helps others, not only women, though. She's into the twee. We'll talk about that. Twee show summit, a 4-day summit she just had. She just came out of that with, I think she was saying like 36 or 155 or something. Huge amounts of speakers that all came together for a cause. This is a woman that is about a cause that is out in the news, that is it's frequent and it's too relevant and it's too out there in the headlines. It needs to stop, and this woman has it in her mind that she's very much committed to making that happen. So we're going to talk about that. Welcome, Jackie. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you, Tamara. That was amazing. That's a great introduction. I love you.
I love you too. I do. And you know what? I love my buddies that are showing up. Let's say hello to them. We have one of our senior ambassadors, Sherry McQueen. Can I just brag on Sherry right now? You know, it takes a village. It takes teams. It takes so many people to do so many things. And Sherry right now, her words are, and I know Jackie's going to be okay with this because we've been talking about this a lot. So her words are, I'm here to serve. And she's been doing everything from auditing this and doing spreadsheets of that and getting on shows and doing this and helping with the buddies. And she is a senior ambassador. So thank you, Sherry, for being here with us. We have one of my buddies, Helene Wilson. Hello, Helene. She is the ambassador of the chat. She helps to welcome everybody. In fact, she's helping to welcome all of our chemo buddies for life to the Service Hero Show. Today, she is also an author. And so, Helene, get your purple pen out, or you can find it, because you know what? You're going to want to take some notes down because Jackie knows what she's talking about. And they're saying hello to Rachel Johnson, also one of our ambassadors. Thank you, Miss Ambassador, for being here with us. And we have Hermelo, love ya. And he's been supportive through the Next Impactor. He is one of our buddies and, so supportive. And I just want to say it's so great when everybody shows up right when it starts, because it just makes it really fun. Oh, we have one of my board members, Swampy, also known as Kent Glade. Swampy, thank you for being here today. You're going to be well served. So let's get into it. You are a busy woman.
Okay.
No debate. Yes. Okay. Yeah. No. All right. So you just came off of an incredible 4-day entrepreneurial streaming live event, of which I was so impressed. Because you were running a lot of the technical. You know how to do the technical as well as be the narrator and the host and the invite everyone and motivate and a woman with a cause. Did you get any sleep? That's the question.
Oh, absolutely. I sleep like a rock. Here's the deal. When you're on purpose, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When you understand that whatever you get done is enough. And this is the rules. And I didn't go into it on the summit because I don't want to repeat myself 30 some times. But here's the rules I live by. Whatever time we get started is the right time. Whoever shows up are the right people. Whatever we get done is enough. And when it's over, it's over. Take what you learned and move on.
I love it.
You know, and I run everything with the understanding that if you find yourself in a place that it's not your job, not your vibe, you just vote with your feet and leave. You don't stay around and disrupt whatever anybody else is getting out of it. And then you go take a break because you don't want to mess up anybody else's process. You know, it's based on how they do large organizational change. And I just adapted it for how I do my meetings. And I've been running networking groups for a really long time. And it was like, oh yeah, if you're looking for a group where somebody's going to be stressed, that you start at if you start at this time and you have these people, and if you don't show up, you can't get in. I know people who lock the doors on their meetings. And I'm like, not in my world. This is my ballpark, my way. And so I run by those 4 rules.
And you know, I also want to just say thank you, because you were flexible with me because of, and the buddy's going to find out about it a little bit tonight because it's Travel Tuesday. So I'm not going to give everything away out here in the public side. However, there was some stuff going on for the buddies. Wink, wink. You'll find out about it tonight. Come to the chat. And let's just say I was very technically challenged. That's why last week I did not do any Service Hero shows. That's why in the chat, guys, yes, I had substitute hosts, and because there was something else that needed to be done, and it got done. I'm so excited. I can't wait to share. And yet the opportunity came kind of at a last minute to be involved with your summit, your 4-day summit, and the TWE show, which we're going to talk about that in a second. And it was a situation where I was gifted an opportunity to share what it is that we're doing with our movement, how we're building it, how we're growing it, how we're getting through this period of time in the pandemic, and how we're getting closer. We have such a wonderful, amazing group. And it was, a speech, and then this and that, and all this stuff needed to get in, and all these activities needed to be done beforehand. And I had to say to Sherry or Jackie that I would have to bow out because I couldn't fulfill all the responsibilities. And you said what?
I said, no, you don't. I want your content. Yeah. I don't. And yes, it's my show, so it's my rules. That's the wonderful thing about getting this idea that once you own and claim your space, I call it the ballpark. And I was like, no, I want your content. You don't get off the hook. You're going to show up. We're going to make it work. Let's do the best of your worst times, and let's just make it happen. And you absolutely wowed everybody on the show. I mean, Tamara, you have such a service heart. You are so heart driven. You're so clear on the difference you want to make in the world. Everybody just loved you on the show.
Oh,
I'm super happy.
Well, thank you. I'm glad because, and I want to recognize something, because this is something that I look at. We do chat every evening. And so my community is used to sharing with each other, and they check in on each other. And Helene's letting me know that Rachel is not having such a good day. So Rachel, I want you to know I love you, and do what you need to do. Put your feet up, grab, I don't remember if it's cold or hot there where you are right now, but probably hot. And so, maybe just relax for a few minutes, my dear, because we want you up to, feeling your best again. I know that I did see your roses this morning, and they were beautiful. So thank you very much for sharing those. And thank you, Helene, for letting us know. Now, TWE. I was doing a little bit of research, and you've been doing this for a little while. So a few days. So what TWE? There's a history behind the TWE.
Yeah, TWEES. TWES is the shortcut for the Woman Entrepreneur Show. And yes, our main landing page is still thewomanontrepreneursshow.com. But I realized, one, I've never limited the presenters to just women because I wanted the best content for my tribe. And now we're finding that men want to come on. They not only want to present, but they want to be involved. So we started calling it Twee Show. And I realized I was calling it the show a lot this weekend. And after it was over, I'm like, oh, it's not the show, it's Twee Show. And people who missed this season of the Woman Entrepreneur Show, they didn't get on it. The VIP page is still up. And if they want to register, they can go ahead and register, or they can go to tweeshow.com and just look at what we did for the VIPs. The very inspiring people, all of the speakers, all of the guest experts on the show were incredibly inspiring, both with whether it was their technical knowledge. I mean, I had my nerds, okay? Everybody should have nerds. So I have two guys. They have their own podcast. And their own YouTube. It's Let Your Nerd Be Heard. And
I love that.
They're just the most fun to hang around. They're engineers who are out in the entrepreneurial space helping people like me who are not techie get my shows up on YouTube and on podcasts. And now they are doing the work for the mission of the Make It a Great Day movement and the Teen Suicide Prevention Society. So they are just the sweetest people. And Justin, holy Toledo, for 45 minutes, that man just walked people through all of the steps they need to get over their fear of being on video, to get up on YouTube. These step by step. Where do you start? And he calls it, he's an engineer, 1% improvements. For your first season, what are the 1% improvements that you want to be thinking about making? But you go ahead and get it up.
I love that.
For your second season, what are your 1% improvements that you're going to be making? Where do you focus? He's absolutely flipping amazing. Who knew that an engineer could be engaging? And he just is.
It's really interesting. Swampy, being here. Swampy actually, I could brag about my board and our leadership and our people all day long, but Swampy, what he is, he's a scientist that has worked for FEMA and the coal industry and a lot of the rules and regulations and everything, and yet he's out there with painted overalls with that have all sorts of swamp yard animal sounds coming from him on skates with the Swampy character to teach kids about the wetlands. And you talk about engaging, that's pretty engaging. I mean, it's pretty creative too. And I actually love it when you have people that stereotypical, you think, yeah, they're that kind of person, yet then you get to know them and you see how incredible they all are. And the bottom line on that, guys, don't ever judge anyone because you'll always be surprised. And yes, Kent is awesome. I agree with you, Helene. Absolutely. And yep. And so now you were talking about the VIP. I want to go here and I want to be serious for a few seconds. Okay, so you were talking about the VIP packages and everything with your summit. You actually were building awareness and funds and funding and to help with a cause that you are completely passion driven on.
Yeah. Just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little. I'm just a little invested.
Yeah. Are you good with talking about it now?
Yeah. So I don't need a lot of sleep, and I got less than I needed this weekend. So I'm a little more on the edge than I would normally be about this. But yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
My story into being of service didn't start until just a few months ago. It started when my daughter was going to write for a book of inspirational stories for teens, and she's 37, and she was stuck, totally blocked as a writer. And she was going to participate in an upcoming public speaking event. And so she had this brilliant idea. She was going to just give her 7-minute talk and then transcribe it, and that would be her chapter. And so the book is called Make It a Great Day. The choice is yours. She's like, what do I write about? And I said, just tell one of your never quit stories. Don't worry, they're all good. You'll rock this. Oh, she rocked it all right. She rocked me because I didn't know what was coming. And here's, there are moments that are just perfect. The morning of the public speaking event, everything worked. The PowerPoint worked. The videographer was there. The entrepreneurial women had spent the morning session getting ready, and now they were all getting nervous. That nervous, excited state you get before you talk.
Yeah.
Super proud of my daughter. She volunteered to go first. And I know it showed when I welcomed her to the front of the room to introduce her, because, I was the host of the event, and I had no idea what was coming. She started with a statistic I hadn't heard before. 3,000 a day. 3,000 a day. That's the number of teens that attempt to take their own lives every day. Just teens, just in the US, just the ones that don't die. The number goes up if you add the ones who die. And I was like, whoa, where'd that come from? Then she said, when I was 14, and she started talking about her multiple suicide attempts as a teen. Now, I had lived through them. But when we were done with counseling, therapy, medications, interventions, we were done, I thought. And we had this sort of unspoken agreement, that the past was the past. So I was really shocked. Okay, I mean, now we've gone from startled to shocked, and then the next sentence out of her mouth, I don't know if my heart stopped, Tamara, but I know I stopped breathing, because the next thing she said was that she still struggles with suicidal thoughts. Boom! How could I miss this? How could I not have known this? How could I have missed this? Again, is all that was echoing through my head. I almost missed how she ended her talk. She ended it by saying she wanted to create a program for teens to help them get the coping skills that she's learned along the way before they need them. Now, while everybody else is giving her a standing ovation and rushing up and congratulating her for being so vulnerable, I'm in the back of the room taking 3 very deep, very slow breaths. By the time everybody was reseated and I went up to the front of the room, I had a plan. I'd help her. We'd take the book of inspirational stories that we've been working on, and we'd turn it into a book of stories that would inspire conversation, that would help teens break the silence so that they could start the conversation. We'd create the program together. I mean, that's what I do, is I create programs. I have the Success Journey Academy. This is what I do. So we could get it done, get the book published, get the program done. It's all really good stuff, and it's all needed stuff to raise awareness and help stop this epidemic. But my God, Tamara, the truth is that it was just another way for me to stay busy. It was just another way for me to stay busy and avoid the conversation about what I didn't want to know. Because I didn't want to know what could cause my daughter so much pain. Right. So much mental and emotional pain that she would think dying was better than living.
And this is the book, right?
Yeah. It's really yellow on screen. It's a little more orange in reality, but yeah, this is the book. This is the first one. We're actually starting the second volume.
Wow.
It wasn't until I got asked to do a talk on a TEDx stage on how to end the teen suicide epidemic that we got, okay, we're getting the program done. We're starting to put the pieces together. And I was writing this script over and over again. And what happened was that I got called out I got called out by my TEDx coach for being too tactical and not being vulnerable.
Ooh.
And when I rewrote the script, I realized I couldn't give the talk about how to have conversations that matter if I was still avoiding having the conversation with my daughter.
Right.
You remember the conversation, right? When I was young, the conversations you had with teens were about sex. And then when my kids were growing up, the conversations we had with our teens were about drugs and alcohol. Now the conversation we must have with our teens is about suicide.
Yeah. I will say that many that watch this show know that I've talked about, in general, some of my kids. I was a single mom for most of my kids' life growing up. And one of them was, as a young actually at 4, he was diagnosed, which was very young, but we were in Utah and we were part of a ABLE program through the U of U. So we were very lucky. It was a full family program. And we found that even before he went to kindergarten, he was very bipolar. And then as the years went on, we found out just what percentage and what his association, the other factors are. And anybody that's done any of the studying understands that bipolar male teens have an unusually high rate of this issue going on. And so actually it was front and center in my home with my kids, because of the fact that we needed it to be. We needed to be able to talk about it square in the eye, and we needed to be able to say, okay, these are the warning symptoms, these are the things, and have all the different plans that you have in place. And I know that there's got to be so many more things now, because this was a while ago. However, the thought that in our situation, it was because of a diagnosis. It was because of something that was actually a medical, emotional situation that the doctors and teams were all helping us through. However, you're right. In if you will, the normal, home out there, not that anybody has one of those, but the subnormal, whatever.
They're all functional.
In most families, let's say most children growing up, they don't have that discussion so much, and they need to, because when you mentioned the number 3,000, when I was there on Tweez, and I know how big certain numbers are, and that rivals the cancer numbers. I mean, which are huge. They're huge numbers, and not to diminish any other group, because that's not the idea here. Everyone needs those people that are inspired to help.
Everyone
right. You, however, are taking on, and we were talking about this too, you're taking on an area that I don't even think, even for the teens, especially for adults, I don't think all the numbers are even reported, because they can be under other numbers. They could be under heart disease. They could be under cancer numbers. They could be, if someone is being treated for something.
And even if they're not being treated, see, this is the thing. If someone's being treated for something, if someone's been diagnosed as being at risk for any reason, they're part of the population that's known to be at risk. We're not designed, we have a lot of resources for that, okay? We have anonymous mental health, overarching, free self-assessments and self-education that if somebody wants to know, am I worried or am I anxious? Am I sad or am I depressed? We've got help for that on the mental health side that's free and anonymous. If someone wants to go and learn more about emotional intelligence, we've got help for that. That's free. We've got all of those resources available. Our mission is the other kids. Our mission are the parents, the teachers, the loved ones of the other people, the ones that are normal, the ones that are happy, the ones that are sometimes bored. and then they try to take their own lives. And everybody goes, what the hell just happened?
Right.
Those are the ones who don't know they're at risk. Those are the people we want to serve. Those are the ones, and they're not going to know that they need us. You don't know if someone in your family is at risk. There are 6 key indicators, but I'm only going to talk about one because this is the one that levels the playing field. You or your family might be at risk for suicide if you or someone in your family knows someone who died by suicide.
Wow.
If
Knows someone.
Center for Disease Control website. It's a footnote. But guess what? Thanks to media, we all know a celebrity chef, a gifted singer, a talented comedian. We are all at risk, period. Now you don't have to guess who to have a conversation with. You just have to know how to start the conversation. You have to start the conversation because you don't know if they're at risk. Right now, what we're seeing more and more is that the first sign that someone is at risk is an attempt. And you don't all survive, Tamara. I got really lucky.
Yeah. So the program, now, did I see that book came out about a year ago, or was...
That book came out just ahead of the National Suicide Awareness Month. We got it published right before September 2019.
Okay, all right. That's what I had thought.
So the next volume will be out before September 2020.
Awesome. And how can people get a hold of this book?
Well, they can buy it on Amazon. Or right now, I still have a living room full of books because that's what we were doing is I was shipping books. So makeitagreatdaybooks.com. And I highly recommend people go there to get it because we've got a buy one, give two program. For every book of any kind that's bought off that website, we give 2 books to teens for free.
Wow. Okay. So, and you've had, I'm going to grab a few of them. You've had a few books here. Okay, we've got the one that, okay, so I don't have enough spots, guys.
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow, that's a picture.
Yeah, so I'll grab another one with that book. Okay, so you've got your secrets to success, because that's kind of like, that was one of your launching pads, right? I mean, you really...
That was my first book. It was, I was given an opportunity to speak on a big stage, and I said, okay, if I'm going to speak on stage, I've got to be an author. I have to have credibility to stand on this stage. And so I sat down and I wrote the book that I wish I had had when I was launching my business and when I was launching myself as a speaker. These are the step-by-step, what you do each day for 7 weeks. And so that's what that book is. And so, yeah, it is my first book. I absolutely love it. And it got me started as an author. That was all I was ready to share. Everything that I was ready to share went into that book. And now I've had the opportunity to go on this journey to be, it was like everything I did got me ready for the day that my purpose tapped me on my shoulder. And that's what happened when my daughter broke the silence. Now I'm an advocate for people to break the silence. Whatever is keeping you a secret. This book is very tactical. It is the step-by-step how you go to create your own path from secret to success. It's not the end of the story for me, though, because I was still very much unaware that I was trying to keep a secret. It wasn't until my daughter broke the silence on her suicide attempts I realized the impact of keeping that quiet, of not talking with her about it, not talking with anyone about it, of not being comfortable talking about it if she wasn't ready to talk about it. I mean, it had layers upon layers. I couldn't stand up and talk about it if my daughter wasn't ready. So the impact of having that secret meant that I was always just a little bit reserved, just a little bit holding back, just to don't get too close. I wrote for compilation books. I wrote for Overcoming Mediocrity. I wrote From Broken to Broken Open. I wrote No Place Left to Hide. I wrote all of these things that were on the journey to be able to actually stand up and write what I think is probably the most significant work I've ever done. And that's the one that's about to be published that you can only get right now as part of the Advocate Training Program. And it's another Your Path book. It's your path from beating yourself up to beating your own drum. What it really takes to stand up, speak out, be known, and make a difference.
I like that. That's good. And around our group, we're really into frequency and healing frequencies and all of that. And so I'm thinking that even the drum bath and, you know, like all, because there's so much healing powers, and we've been being taught about it all, and the different wisdom within different types of drums, and, you know, from indigenous cultures, or, you know, this particular place of the world or that. And it's really interesting when you start even looking at the different layers within the drum, and just taking that and all of what you just shared. I mean, oh my, I can just see that there's a lot that you can, a lot of places you can spin off on that one.
Yeah, a lot of places, because whatever your inner critic is, the habit of that language, being able to flip that into the language of an inner coach. See, I don't think people need to be coached from the outside. I think they need to be coached from the inside. I think that it is completely possible for you to become your own advocate, your own best friend. And that requires understanding how to take the journey from the inner critic, turning that into, and I call it the know, like, and trust factor. We're so busy as entrepreneurs trying to help our prospective clients and customers go on the know, like, and trust journey with us faster and faster. It's the whole thing that funnels and client journeys and all of that is built on. And they missed the most important step. You got to take yourself on that journey first. You got to walk that path before you can teach anyone else how to know, like, and trust you. You've got to know, like, and trust yourself. And it was that journey. That's the most significant thing I've ever written. I created an assessment. It's the KLT, the Know, Like, and Trust Factor assessment. And it walks people through those 3 areas. And then how do you increase that? Because here's what I know to be true. If you could up your score, if you could get to know, like, and trust yourself just a little bit more, you'd stop beating yourself up. You'd start beating your own drum. You'd start sharing in a way that allowed people to get to know you so that you could make a difference in the world. That's why I wrote it.
I love it. And you are actually inspiring. In fact, Helene, I'm going to bring this up here too. She said, thank you for helping me learn this. I appreciate you both. Sincerely, Helene. Yeah. Now, okay, so I have to say, I just love this image, you know, and the different things that you have in here. And so I have a feeling this is one of your images from the first book, right?
Yeah, this is my lady. This is this graphic. This was the first one, the one of the lady going down the tubes.
Yeah.
You know, this woman entrepreneur that I was. And all my money is being sucked down that hole with me.
Right.
And that lady was and I have my pop-up banners with her on it. And she was accompanied by an elephant.
Oh, yes. Okay. I knew you'd talk about the elephant. I was curious about the elephant. Okay, so let's bring the elephant up. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you found them. Well, you digging. Okay. The worry about money is the root of all illness was this particular image. This is my elephant. He's been called various names from mayhem to E squared, meaning the entrepreneurial elephant. He's trashing an office, and when you look closely at him, in his trunk, he's holding a teacup. and, and I was like, this was my experience. This one artist, she took my stuff and she just created this for me. And I was like, holy Toledo, this is my elephant. Now, what I realized is the difference between a good idea and a brand. The elephant is a great analogy. The elephant in the room, taming the elephant in the room, talking about your emotional elephant, because that's the universal image in psychology for the subconscious mind is the elephant. And your conscious mind is the puny little human thinking we're in control of the elephant. So the elephant's a great metaphor. Metaphors make lousy brands because you have to explain them. They are confusing for people who do not understand them. And I had the really good fortune. I live in Sarasota, Florida. Sarasota, Florida is the home of the Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Circus. And while I was out building my brand as the elephant tamer, taming the elephant in the room, Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Circus, in their infinite wisdom, that year decided to retire all of the elephants from the circuses forever. There are no more elephant acts. So anyone who met me at a networking event saw the elephant tamer, they wanted to talk to me about pachyderms.
Oh, that's funny.
It was not brand clarity. It was the opposite. It was brand confusion. So we retired the elephant and we created this image, the one of her holding the sign. Whoop.
I didn't find it in one of the individual ones with her. Oh, but
just a minute ago. You just haven't got the success sign. Yeah. This is the energy.
I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Will Rogers said it ain't bragging if you done it. So don't brag, don't blow your own horn. So I'm going to tell you, okay, don't blow your own horn, but beat your own drum.
There you go. And I'll let you know, Sarasota, Florida, Steven's not here with us right now. Steven Smith, he's one of our leader volunteers. And he always, whenever he shows up, it's so funny because he always says, it's Steven Smith from Sarasota, Florida here. And so we see Sarasota, Florida a lot. And so, when I noticed where you were from, I'm like, oh, I got to introduce the two of you. And so, I'm going to do that. And I love this character. And when I started looking at all the different, you had so many good ones. It was like, okay, I'm just going to pick a few and go with it, and didn't overthink it, because I thought, okay, whatever reason, they're supposed to be here. And I want to recognize, we have Skip Thomas. He's saying, this is a great service too. My daughter lost two of her best childhood friends in 1 week. All students in college together. She went on a speaking tour to churches to help young people. Thank you for sharing that, Skip. I appreciate that. And Sherry saying, my cousin committed suicide at 23. It was horrible. Yeah. Rosh Hashanah, I'm glad
Roshana's here.
Yeah, and she was on. Yes,
she was the experts on the show.
Yes, she was also nominated by Andrea Miller also. Okay, so I love this. Okay, you can't run fast enough to get ahead of your limiting beliefs, but you can slow down enough to transform them into total success mindset. That's just like great. How simple yet so wise is that? And it's ta-da! Okay, and then action infused with gratitude is magnetic. I love that one. What can you be grateful for today? And we talk about that a lot in our organization. And gratitude is extremely important. Now, as far as what you are putting out there for the programs, that I would think that would translate.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Though I will tell you, you cannot start with gratitude. When you're talking to someone who's in so much mental and emotional pain, that the 6-step conversation, now it's the 7-step conversation. So the 7-step conversation that we train in the advocacy program is super, super simple on its surface. And it allows you, in having the conversation, to immediately know. You immediately know what's the next tool to have at your hand. And we're not necessarily just talking about your teens. We're talking about anybody here. What would it be like for you if you knew what to do next? And that's sort of the purpose of being able to walk through a step-by-step system that will take you just from being able to start a conversation with anyone at any time. This would be the journey. And it's super, super simple. You just start. And you start with what I had to start with. You start with being willing to stop being busy.
Ooh, that's good.
Being busy. Because I could be busy. I am a woman entrepreneur. I know what busy looks like.
Yeah, you know, busy. In fact, you know, I'm going to get these out here too, because I want to give a full, you know, story in that you were preparing for the TEDx that you were approved, and your talk, in fact, they wanted you to talk about this. And of all places, I'm going to let you, drum roll please, where is it that your TEDx stage is waiting for you?
The stage is in Las Vegas. The group is TEDx Tinea Paseo, which is an intersection in that community. And so the journey from there was, hey, you have to talk about this. My coach was like, you have to talk about this topic. Yeah. And I had to be willing to do that. So that's why willingness is a really strong word in my world. Are you willing? And thank God for mentors. Marshall Goldsmith is a LinkedIn influencer, and he wrote a book called Triggers. And in the book, he has a comment that says how he makes a decision. Am I willing at this time to make the investment required to make a difference on this topic? It's a really complicated question. Am I willing at this time to make the investment required to make a difference on this topic? I had to become willing to make the investment required. And that investment was to get over whatever it was that was holding me back from having the conversation with my daughter. So I wrote out the 6-step conversation. That's now the 7-step conversation. I wrote it out and then realized I could not deliver that talk until I had the talk with my daughter.
Right.
And so the good news for me is that she was willing. The bad news for me and the bad news for the world is that someone who struggles with suicidal thoughts may not know why. And that why is not a question that's helpful. If you want to know why somebody does something, I'll give you the answer, and you don't ever have to ask them again. Because here's what happens when you go up to someone and say, why did you do that? You ask that question, no matter how neutral, no matter how loving your tone is, what happened in your brain, Tamara? You get defensive immediately. Because the assumption is I must have been doing something wrong or you wouldn't have asked the question. Now, the exception to that is my guy. Why? My guy is Jewish. He grew up asking questions. That's the nature of their culture. I am not Jewish. That was not the nature of my culture. You ask me a question like that, my brain goes into overdrive. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? So we know now what the answer is. Here is the answer. You will never, ever have to ask this question again. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because it seemed like the best idea at the time. That's why we do what we do, is because it seems like the best idea at the time. And this is why people take their own lives. It's because in that moment, it was the best idea they had at the time. Our job as advocates is not to take that option off the table, not to get rid of that idea, not to argue with them about the idea. It's the opposite of that. Our mission as an advocate is simply to help them discover their other options, their other ideas, so that taking their own life is not the only option they see. That's all the journey is. That's it.
Huge. That's it, but it's huge. It's a huge one.
It's a huge one.
I want to bring up another one because it's something that another image here, I'm just grabbing it on the line, is that when I saw this, I thought, how appropriate for these days right now.
That's my stationary bicycle next to my
and good for you, because I actually just had one of my residents here with me right now, a bounce back, you know what I mean, guys, wink, wink, yep.
It happens.
Yep, and I was preparing to make some changes, and then COVID hits, and so it's like, and I had some stuff like packed up or prepared to move and stuff, and I had one of my pieces of equipment all ready to get going, and I finally said, okay, just take it, put it back, plug it in. It was like, okay, I am done with COVID pounds, done with it's time to start moving. It's time to start getting that going. We've been talking about it a lot in the closed group, and yet, you gotta put it out there. So I started going up on the hill. I started doing all these different things. Yeah, I have this piece of equipment, and it gets hot where I am. We get, 3 digits here. I'm in the deserts area of Southern California. And so it gets warm, a little toasty. And so I thought, okay, I could either have excuses or I could do this. And so it was do this. And so when I found this, I'm like, yes, we need to all be moving. We need to get that groove going on. Mm-hmm. Because that helps with that mental, emotional, energetic, just all of it, right? I mean,
yeah.
You're all about success. That right there shows a lot.
It doesn't matter what action you take. It matters that you allow yourself to get into the emotional state where you can take action.
I love that. Yes.
It's not about doing it right. It's about getting it done.
Yes.
People say, Jackie, that sounds so much like bumper sticker philosophy. And I'm like, yeah, you think you don't remember it? We remember bumper sticker philosophy. So here's what we did. I just decided to fill the back of my book with bumper sticker philosophy, these little short things that people can actually remember, like that one. It's not about getting it perfect or getting it right. It's about getting it done. And I got into a polite debate with one of the speakers on the Tweet Show. And the debate was, they were saying that done is better than perfect. And I'm like, I disagree. And they're like, what? I'm like, your brain knows that nothing is better than perfect. So your brain will discount that and you still won't get anything done. Try this instead. Done is perfect.
Done is perfect. I like that. Yeah. Oh.
And then in my
retrain that brain.
Well, yeah, your brain knows you can't get better than perfect, and
right. So it's just validating that done is perfect, and it will then do, because it's going to look for perfect, so it will get done, and however it gets done is perfect.
I mean, I got challenged, as I was told I should write a book called Good Enough. Really is good enough. And so that might be a title that I write to next, Your Path to Good Enough. It's really just about what are you going to train your brain to? What are you going to have as your mantra for living? My business really flippin' struggled because I was so engaged with getting it right. That finally the last page of my first book says, here's the truth. You don't have to be perfect to be profitable.
Right. So true.
I have to give myself permission. And I didn't write that book for anybody else. Don't ever you write your books for yourself. If you're trying to write for somebody else and you have writer's block, I can tell you why. Never write for somebody else. You want to keep your reader in mind. You want to speak language that they're not going to have to translate, but you do not write for anyone other than yourself. It's your own process, it's your own journey. Walk it proudly, and don't tell anybody you're writing a book. They will drive you nuts unless you write the same way I do, which is, oh, I'm going to write a book, and just shut out the world and sit down. Not everybody does that. Some people write an hour a week. Some people write 5 minutes a day. This is the difference between a farmer brain and a hunter brain. And if you've never heard this analogy, pick up any book on ADD. Okay, driven to distraction, delivered from distraction, coping, any of the books on ADD. This is a very common analogy that people who do not have the attention distraction quotient behaviors are like farmers. They can plow a field, they can nurture it, they can watch it grow. They can do the step-by-step incremental growth. I call them evolutionary changers. This is the way the evolution is. It's a step and it's a little back and it's a little forward and it's a step and it's, and it's just a process. Now, the person with the brain that is a little bit more distracted.
The hunter, yeah.
Yeah, a little more. Okay, I'm a little more. I'm actually a lot more. We are more like hunters. Pray, and we focus. It's called hyper focus. Attack. I mean.
You even do that well.
I mean, this is just how I lived my life. When people say squirrel, and I'm like, yeah, and in between the squirrels, we just kind of let our brains just go. And this was the hunter brain. And I call us the revolutionary changers because it doesn't look like we're doing anything. It doesn't look like anything's happening. And all of a sudden we go from here to there. We go, pop. And our friends go, what the hell just happened in your life? Weren't you,
over there?
And so we tend to leapfrog, but we stay in one place and build up pressure. And then and I call that a revolutionary changer. And so if you're a revolutionary style, if you're more of the hunter, if you have a tendency to distraction, except the flip side is hyper focus, where you do a marathon of reading or writing or whatever it is, then just honor that. And when you go to write your book, go into your cave and sit down and just write till you're done writing, and then get a friend to edit it.
At least one friend to edit it. Yes. If
you've got any writers, there's a Facebook group called the Make a Difference Book Launch. Make a Difference Books. And so this is a launch group where if you're going to launch a book and you want some support around getting it written, getting it edited, having some first readers, which you need before you publish the book, some people who don't know you, you need them. And if you don't have a tribe, you can come to the Make a Difference Book Launch Lounge. Say that 3 times fast. And come and just hang out with us, because when somebody's launching a book, it gets really active. Otherwise, we're just kind of hanging in there. But,
cool. Yeah. I know a lot of people that are in the process of book writing right now. That is, Helene is one of them. Absolutely. Yeah, she is. Yeah. That's why, Helene, I said in the very beginning, you're going to be excited about this show. All right. I want to recognize, and I just want to say this was, not really talk about it so much, but I want to say thank you for this opportunity again that you gave me to be on your 4-day event and an opportunity to share, guys. I shared about us. what we're doing and where we're going with it. It was just a really wonderful platform. So I want to say thank you for that. I'm going to drop down from the line for a moment, and I want to give you the full focus for you to give a pearl of wisdom, an inspirational thought, whatever you're feeling right this minute that you would like to leave everybody with. And then I'll come back up, and then we'll close out the show, okay?
Thank you, Tamara. And thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for being you. We need you more than you know. We need you here. We need you to stay. We need you to stay engaged. We need you more than you know. And you can't do it wrong. You can't do it wrong. That's my message for you. You can't do life wrong. You can't do you wrong. We just want you to do you better, to do you more, to take and step into this one statement, and it's on the greeting cards that I love to send out. And it says, be who you are. No one else is better qualified. And I just want you to live into that. I want you to become your own best friend. I want you to become your own advocate. And Tamara did not approve this message, so just FYI, I'd love to give you all access to the Know, Like, and Trust Factor assessment to help you do you better. And you can find it at youcan'tdoitwrong.com. So I'd love to help you do you. So there you go.
Thank you. You know, I fully thank you. That was very generous, and I appreciate it. I know that when we were together on the summit and the show that we just did, that you had mentioned it there. I'm going to mention it publicly to everybody that Jackie's in the process of creating her own nonprofit about, that will take out her passion and purpose to really help to stem the issues that are out there that so many teens and others are facing. That suicide rates are just way too huge, and the attempted suicide rates, those numbers are they're outrageous.
Right. You want to know the truth about the numbers?
Yeah.
800,000 last year alone. That's the number of people who took their own lives in the world. It's 1 every 40 seconds. Suicide is the leading cause of violent death in the world. It's more than homicide, more than murder, more than war, more than terrorism, and more than auto accidents combined. And for every adult who takes their own life, according to the World Health Organization, they estimate another 20 attempts. 1 every 2 seconds, people. We have an epidemic on a global, systemic scale. And the only way to turn this tide is to become suicide-proof on an individual level.
Right.
One advocate at a time. We help you become suicide-proof so that you can go out and help other people become suicide-proof. That is our goal. This is the suicide war. War with 2 A's. We're all at risk. Once you understand that we're all at risk, don't you want to be part of this solution? Because the other alternative is silence. And the silence is killing us.
Right, right. Well, and that's where it goes hand in glove with our message, guys, that are here from the buddies. And because we're all about easing the suffering of isolation and everything is hand in glove. And one thing that's really wonderful about nonprofits is that they can work together and they can help to support each other, because it's what it's all about being a nonprofit. We're not in any kind of way competing, which is so wonderful to be in that space. And so you'll be getting to know Jackie more in the future, everyone. And thank you very much, Sherry, for doing that. I just love our team. I just love you guys so much. So As we get prepared to close right now, I do want everybody to remember that it is Tuesday. It's Travel Tuesday. Wink, wink. That means you know who will be on. Now, Christopher is taking a little time off, and so it will be Skip Thomas, and it will be myself. So the two of us will be on. You never know if maybe we'll have a surprise guest too. However, I know you're going to be very interested in what we're going to talk about today. So be into the chat at 5 o'clock Pacific in the evening, 8 o'clock Eastern. I look forward to seeing you there. And as we close, the date is May the 26th of the year 2020. This is the Service Hero Show, 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. And yes, Andrea Adams Miller, you were correct that we needed to definitely give the Service Hero Award for today to Jackie Simmons. You are a service hero. You are a service hero on multiple counts. You're helping so many people to find a way to be an entrepreneur, to believe in themselves, to be able to then take care of things for themselves and for others. You have written books to inspire, to educate, and to help those that need that subject matter. And in a huge way, you are out to change the way our world is dealing with an epidemic. And I personally want to say thank you for that. It is so absolutely needed. And your energy in leading that charge is extremely appropriate, well placed, and it's an honor to know you. So thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much, Tamara. I just realized that story about the evolutionary changer, I had over 20 years of building up pressure.
Oh, wow.
Our secrets can become the fuel for where we make a difference in the world if we let them. So that's why the know, like, and trust factor is the first step. Get to know, like, and trust yourself. We need you more than you know.
Absolutely. I agree. I second that to you, Jackie, and everyone that's here live, #live, #replay. I will be uploading this into the YouTube channel. And no, guys, yes, please. I've been recently loading 3 years of shows, finally. And
I resemble that.
We don't even have, I think we now are at 76 subscribes. I'm trying to get to 100 just so I can get a custom link. They won't give me a custom link on YouTube if you don't have 100. We have more than that.
All right, so we'll just go with the 100 subscribers and 100-day challenge. And if everybody tells one friend, you'll get it done.
Well, I think we're at 76 or something right now. So we can get this done like lickety-split. So everybody, if you haven't gone yet, Tamara Hunter, Service Heroes on YouTube, like and subscribe, please. And then
I did. I was number 77.
Oh! We're at 77. Ha! Woohoo! All right, guys. All right. Well, make it an amazing afternoon. See you guys in the chat tonight, the buddies, anybody that wants to join our community. You're feeling isolated and alone, come. We have such a good time, and we care about each other. A lot of humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a lot of love to be shared. All right, see you guys there. Bye.